Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bleep Up Battle Report of Warmachine. This battle report is between Cryx and Khador, and if you are watching this video and you haven't seen part 1, click the video which is shown right now, but if you've already watched part 1, you're in for a treat. So let's get straight into part 2 of this battle report. Okay, Rich's third turn, he started off by giving 2 focus to the Ripjaw and kept 5 for herself, and kept the free upkeep on Crippling Grasp on the Decimator, I believe. He then moved in the Machine Wraith and Mind Meld into the Juggernaut, so now he can control the Juggernaut. He then moves the Death Ripper over the wall, but because he's 6 inches close to the Butcher, the War Dog countercharges, rolls, fails miserably, and goes back to the Butcher. Okay, and then he activates the Rip Jaw, and he charges into the Decimator. Spends 1 focus to charge and 1 focus to do an armor-piercing attack. He hits, and this is his armor piercing. It's very, very nasty, and ends up doing 15 points of damage to it. He then moves the Blood Ogres into the Man at Wars. As they all can see, they can all some charge in and some don't. And overall he kills 2 Man at Wars. He then moves the Reaper up, and then he moves the Warcaster up and casts Scourge, which is an AO3, power 13, and if anything gets hit, it gets knocked down, which is quite scary. So he's going to use it through the Arc Node on the War Dog, but it misses. Because if he knocks down the War Dog, obviously the Butcher will be able to be knocked down. But it scatters, and the knockdown, here we go. The resulting of this is that Joe gets knocked down, but it also does 2 points of damage, I believe, and it kills the spotter on the mortar crew. He then moves up the Wither Shadow Combine, and tries to cast Unbinding on the Winter Guard that takes away Iron Flesh, but they're out of range. He then moves up the Scarlock. The Defiler walks up, sprays 3 Winter Guard, and only manages to kill 1. And then the Mechanophrol will charge in to the final Winter Guard. Well, actually he goes for the Officer, and unfortunately misses with both attacks, ending Rich's third turn. Okay, my third turn for Khador. Butcher can't allocate focus to the Decimator because of the Ripjaw crippled that, and the Juggernaut is under control of the machine, so he keeps all 6 focus for himself. Doesn't keep up Iron Flesh, and Joe stands back up. He then casts Full Throttle on the Warjacks, and then walks into combat and tries to hit the Machine Wraith out of the Juggernaut. He hits it, Rich rolls a command check, and it stays in. And then we begin to do a command check thing, so basically the Machine Wraith will come out if I roll higher than Rich. So we do it once, and he comes out on top, we try it again, and then I'm victorious. So I spend 2 focus, but the Machine Wraith is out of the Juggernaut. The Machine Wraith then exits the Juggernaut and has to be 3 inches away from it. Then I have an attack on the Death Ripper, needing a 6, and I roll a 5. And then I pop my feet, which I should have done at the beginning of the turn, but I forgot. I then activate my Man of War Shock Troopers, moving the shield wall and also into combat, and begin to hit the Blood Gorgers. Rich fails his Tough roll, so 1 is taken off the board. The second Man of War hits, does enough damage. Rich does a Tough roll, and he makes it, so it's just knocked down. Okay, then the Juggernaut will turn around and using full throttle with boosted attack rolls, tries to hit Death Ripper, but unfortunately misses both times. Then the Decimator attacks the Ripsaw with boosted attack rolls, hits, and then because of the feat, boosted damage, 4 straight damage straight off the bat, and then because of the weapon, overall it does 13 points of damage. So then Joe gives a command for the Motherland again, giving the Winter Guard boosted attack rolls. Then the Winter Guard will move up and spray the Defiler, and they'll also spray the Wither Shadow Combine. Unfortunately, it only does 8 points of damage to the Defiler and takes a few boxes off the Wither Shadow Combine, and the officer kills the Mechanophral in combat. And I'll tell you, my dice rolls weren't that great. So then the War Dog charges into the Death Ripper and then misses. And so then the Mortar decides to take a pot shot at the Blood Ogres, needing an 11. And I get a 12, because the rat was only 1. I get all 3. And then Rich rolls, and 1 dies and 2 save because of the tough rolls. And that's the end of my turn 3. Wow, it's the end of turn 3, and I can tell you, this is looking very nasty for me. Rich has obliterated. I've tried as much as possible. The Machine Wraith, like we did in the first battle report, it's definitely done its toll on me, spending pretty much all my focus on Butcher to do it, and goodness gracious, it seems like a real big uphill battle for us. And I think Rich might win next turn. I've got a gut feeling. Okay, Cryx turn 4. First things first, Rich allocated 1 focus to the Defiler, 3 to the Death Ripper, and 3 to herself. Then he activated the Wither Shadow Combine and charged in the remaining Winter Guard. And with all these dice rolls, I can tell you now, he kills the Standard Bearer and 1 normal Winter Guard. And because every time they kill a living model, they gain souls, so he kept attacking soul after soul and gaining more souls, which is always lovely. Then he moved the Machine Wraith and Mind Meld into the Juggernaut again. He then moved the Defiler and sprayed War Dog. I have to do my tough roll. Fails, and unfortunately that little puppy is finished. He moved the Reaper in and did 3 points of damage to the Man-at-War Shock Trooper. Then it was time to the Death Ripper to hit Butcher. Okay, with his first attack he actually misses, but then he buys another attack, hits, and overall from all these lovely dice rolls he does 6 points of damage on the Butcher. Okay, then he activates the Ripjaw to attack the Decimator, but misses. Okay, the remaining Blood Ogres, that one will charge up, because obviously they were knocked down last turn by the Mortar. So they will, one will charge in the back of the Man-at-War, and with all these dice rolls, with gang and all this jazz, finish him off, which is very, very nasty indeed. And that's the end of Rich's 4th turn. Okay, Khador turn 4. I decide to keep all the focus on the Butcher. And with Kovnik Joe, I do the speech for the Motherland, which gives him boosted attack rolls on the Mortar. Hits. And then, right, with all these other dice rolls, hits all 3, 1 auto hits and the other 2. And with Rich's tough rolls, 2 die and 1 survives. Okay, the remaining Man of War will attack the Blood Ogre. Hits, damages. Rich's tough roll fails, so that dies as well. Okay, the Decimator will attack the Ripsaw because it's got sustained attack and +4 already. Pretty much rolls heavy damage, 12 points, and kills the Ripjaw. Okay, then the Butcher will challenge the Machine Wraith, and it takes 4 attempts, guys. Again, 4. It's unbelievable. 4 focus gone due to that Machine Wraith. And so the Machine Wraith pops out 3 inches again. Then the Butcher will attack the Death Ripper. Misses its first attack. Then he hits. He does 12 points of damage to the Death Ripper. Now the remaining Winter Guard charge in the Wither Shadow Combine, but unfortunately they do nothing. And that's the end of Khador turn 4. Turn 4, what do you think, Rich?
It's certainly not looking as good for me as it was the end of turn 2, but I'm still pretty confident if I can take down the Butcher.
I have to admit, I'm quite lucky to be in here, to be quite frank.
I don't know, it's been quite close and still is close, so it's a good game. I like it.
Yeah, as you can see, he's still got the Shadow Window Combine, and he's still got the Machine Wraith, he's still got his Warcaster, but the problem is I've still got Butcher, so come back with Cryx turn 5 if this eventually finishes. Okay, Cryx turn 5. Rich allocated 1 focus to the Defiler, 2 focus to the Ripper, and then 4 for Denegra. Okay, then he activated the Death Ripper and left combat and suffered a free strike from the Butcher and the Juggernaut, and with all these dice rolls, it dies. He then activates Denegra and it casts Scourge on the Juggernaut. And it hits, and it is knocked down. And also, because it's an AoE 3, everything else is knocked down also. So the Butcher and the Juggernaut are knocked down. He then activates the Defiler and sprays both of them. And with all these dice rolls, they do 2 damage to the Juggernaut and 5 more damage to the Butcher, and they also have corrosion on them. Okay, then he activates the Blood Ogre and it charges the last remaining Man of War. First attack misses, and the second attack hits and does 2 points of damage to the Man at War, but it is almost dead. Okay, then he used the Wither Shadow Combine and attacked the remaining Winter Guard using soul tokens to hit and buy more attacks, etc. And eventually, with all these dice rolls, they do kill them, and they get more soul tokens for killing living models as well. Okay, then he activates the Ripper and he attacks the Man at War, he hits and finishes him off. He then moves up the Scrap Roll and casts Crippling Grasp on the Butcher, and he needs to cast this and he won't be able to move, and he does. End of Cryx turn 5. Okay, Khador turn 5 and his game. Basically, with the scenario, we have to have someone with a command in there, and because Crippling Grasp was hit on the Butcher, he's now only got a movement of 3, and that is more than 3 inches. These haven't got a command. They have a command, but they're blatantly out of range. 14 inches I don't think is going to get Joe in there. So, Cryx win. And now for the machines or models of the match. Mine was the Winter Guard Mortar because it killed all the Blood Augurs, and Rich's man of the match was Machine Wraith. Why is it the Machine Wraith, Rich?
Just purely because it's only a point model and it got in the way so much.
Well, that is another battle report in the bank, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Feel free to watch all my other videos and subscribe to my channel, and I'm looking forward to doing the next battle report. Take care.